My advice to anybody who's experiencing or being bullied, and this comes from a person who was bullied. I was bullied for a lot of my school years, from primary school through senior school, and even into young manhood, really, in a sense. And at that point, it became quite natural, because I suppose I almost welcomed it, I almost brought it on, because, you know, it's who you kind of become. So obviously this will be different depending on what age you are. But I think one of the biggest and most important things is that you realize that it's not about you. Now, if you're the person who's being bullied, that may seem quite strange, but it really isn't about you. And what happened for me was and quite naturally, you come to the assumption in your head that it must be me. I must be useless. I must be faulty. I must be unlikable and unlovable. And that's very understandable how you come to that conclusion. But that's more harmful, in my opinion, than any physical abuse or mental abuse. I mean, that plays into mental abuse and will play into mental health issues. And why is it not about you? Because it really isn't. You often find that the bullies, the people bullying you, it comes from a place of envy. A lot of the time, they envy something. They're jealous of something about you. Maybe you're confident. Maybe you have more money, or your parents love you more, or you're more intelligent, you're doing better at school. It may just be that they feel, and you get this a lot as well, it's quite primal, especially at schools it's primal, but even in life we forget we're quite primal creatures, and so people will try and they'll have this power struggle. And if somebody is actually feeling less, usually the bullies feel very, very insecure. They're very, very insecure people who don't feel much for themselves. And the way they try to heighten themselves is to bully people, to try and have that power over people, to give them a sense of power, to give them a sense of being somebody. And of course, what actually happens to the bully, because unless they're a psychopath, they still feel emotions. They go away and they know what they've done when they put their head down at night. They feel shame and they feel guilt. But then it becomes more, and they feel like they're so worthless, they just continue to do it. And it's who they become. And so it's very, very important. As I say, it's not about you. You become a target, but you as a person are likable and you are lovable. Don't let the bully let you think that. I don't care what they're saying. Bullies are very angry, and what they look for is a target also to express their anger. And if you are, unfortunately, that person, you've become that mechanism that they can give all their crap to. And so I'm sure you've heard all this before, but I think it's very important that you find people to talk to. You find friendships, even if that has to be across the internet. You know, it's not ideal. Human connection is the ideal, but you have to reach out. Don't be alone. I was alone for a lot of years with mine. I didn't tell anybody, and that really didn't help me. If you're at school, speak to the teachers. Again, I get it. I've been there. The last thing you want to do is speak for teachers, because then you go back and it can make the bullying 10 times worse. Look, it really does depend on what level you're being bullied, and only you can judge that. It's very individual. And if it's that bad, you know, if your parents are not really listening and helping, if the schools are not helping, you have to find an association or go to the police. And you have to tell them how bad it is, and something will get done. You can't give up hope. Beyond that, look for confidence building. Look for confidence building. The minute you try to be confident, they will want to smash you down. But one of the things we're doing in particular with my son, because he's been experiencing some bullying just recently, and he's only 5, and it saddens me because it's like seeing myself again. We're going to be taking him to get to do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some martial arts training, because it's going to build his confidence in a person, and his ability, if someone does try to bully him, to deal with the situation physically. Now, we don't want to encourage that at all, but just him knowing he's got the physical ability will give him a confidence, an air of confidence, and that's what a lot of it is. You know, if you're an unconfident person, and I really was, then the bullies sniff that out, and this is where it's very primal. It literally is like being in a jungle. They will sniff it out, and they will just find you. And so confidence building is key, and that of course is hard, especially if you've been bullied for a long time, if you've been smashed down. But you have to start somewhere, building blocks, little wins. Write down all the things that you're good at. And I don't care if you think that's not a lot, you know, am I caring? Do I read? Do I draw? You know, have I got all my body parts? You know, what, literally, you know, don't get caught by society thinking, oh, I have to have this, I have to have that. As human beings, on a very basic level, we are very gifted. Society is continuously trying to tell us we're not good enough, and that makes us want to consume and buy more to be accepted. It's all part of a big game. But for you and yourself, if you are being bullied, as I say, remember, it's not about you. Love yourself, like yourself. You don't need these people to like you. Okay, they are not nice people, clearly. Find new relationships, create them over the internet if you have to. Talk to people and let it out. Use that anger to go and find new ways. Read some books. Read some books on bullying and how to deal with bullying. You know, it is a psychological battle. Yes, sometimes I'm sure there's physical, of course. But even before it gets physical, it's psychological first. Some people, you can win the battle without having to get physical, but that takes training. It's a psychology. So that's another way that you can tool yourself, that you can build confidence. Get some books. And if you can't read, download some books on Audible. Listen, YouTube. There's ways these days. Arm yourself with psychology to deal with bullying. Okay? Good luck. Take care, everybody.